Thank you, everybody, for joining us and tuning into our first Friday today. And our guest speaker is Register of Deeds. She is a graduate of public schools and earned a bachelor degree in business administration at Tennessee State University and her MBA in management at Trevecca Nazarene. Full time, which is pretty amazing. Elected 2 terms as Metro Council member for District 29. He was unanimously elected Council President pro tempore and served as chair for the Charter Revisions Committee and vice chair of Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections Committee. She has served as an elected member of the Metro School Board and was appointed to the Metro Board of Zoning Appeals and Parks and Recreation, and currently serves on the Metro Public Records Commission. She is a past president of the Tennessee Women's Political Caucus and one of the founding board members for the Tennessee Women's Suffrage Movement. She also was selected as a fellow by the National Black Caucus of local elected officials and served as regional director for the board of directors, member of the City Officials Association of Tennessee and the Tennessee Registers Association. So you are busy.
What do you do in your spare time, Karen?
Yeah.
My husband says that all the time. He said if I sat around, he said, I think my wife would get depressed. He's so used to me going.
Stay busy.
Yeah.
I love people.
Yeah.
Well, we just wanted to talk to you today. You've got a couple of firsts here in our county. You're the first female register of deeds and the first African-American register of deeds. So we just kind of wanted to talk to you today about your experiences or whatever you wanted to talk about as far as that or anything else. I mean, you have a very storied career, and it's been fun knowing you on the Records Commission, and you have a real dedication toward the records of our city, and especially those deeds. So we just wanted to talk to you today and get some thoughts from you about how things are going and how it is in the Register of Deeds.
Thank you, archivist Ken Fieth. And see here, I went blank again. Is it Jenny?
Kelley.
Kelley.
Yes.
I'm gonna write this down to make sure I'm doing this right. Kelley, who is the one in the making. But I guess what I would start by saying is this was somewhat of an unexpected journey. I have been interested in Metro Nashville government, and many people tell you that she says this all the time, since the early age of 19 years old. And I was a young mother at that time and was very active in my children's schools and in the community. And so my background is actually human resources. And in human resources, we deal with a lot of records. So you're basically the records manager, basically. It's just in a different fashion, but it's pretty much the same thing. So you have to like working with paper, like working with records, books, and information. And so I did not see this trajectory early on in my career. I feel incredibly blessed because God, I think, leads our steps into the arena where you can best blossom and flourish and be happy. And because of my love for people and processes and procedures and records, I was encouraged after demonstrating leadership throughout the city over the years to pursue this position because it was being vacated by Bill Garrett, who had been in the position for 20 years, which is outstanding. And his father was the trustee. And so, it was a lot of family history tied to this position. And so when I first was introduced to Karen, you should run for Register of Deeds, I said, wow, I said, let me look at this position. I was thinking I was going to be some senior vice president somewhere in some corporation, or even a commissioner for the state or something. I was thinking along those, never even envisioned this. And so when I started on the journey of running for this office, I started doing a lot of research and found myself being immersed in everything dealing with our property records and going down to the library, just, digging in and finding that I found joy in that. I went to other registers offices in other parts of the United States, and it revealed to me all of the old history books, and I just went crazy. And Ken can attest to that, because when I first came on board, the first place I wanted to go was where all the books were. And I was trying to take them away from Ken. And he was like, hold up. He said, and then I learned I said, okay, this is different. I said, but wow, Ken is the best thing for this city, for anybody would be blessed, because he cares so much about preserving everything with the littlest detail. And I love that about when I met Ken, we immediately clicked. Because I saw my passion and love for the things that I just shared, and what he was doing. And I said, wow, this is amazing. So when he took me around to show me the preservation of all of our county records and books, it just made this even more exciting, that God put me in this path to become the county register. Ken can tell you that every time he brings it, we get with books and start looking at information, I get totally immersed and excited about it. So this was a very difficult journey, though. Winning a countywide office of this magnitude that is generally held by people who have long history, family history with these positions. It was a huge challenge. And so, winning an election to gain the trust of the voters, and understanding how important it is to have someone in this role who cares, one, about people being able to keep their property, but also someone who cares about preservation and the history and why it's so important to keep it intact, because everything in the future hinges off of that. And so it was quite an experience to convey to the people of our city that I was the one to do that. And surprisingly, when I shared my background, a little bit of what I just shared with you with records and processes and procedures, I just received overwhelming support everywhere I went, in every corner of the city. And to this day, our phones ring all day and people ask questions all day, and they feel like the office is accessible, which to me is gratifying and demonstrates that I'm where I need to be. And having a partner like you, Ken, and you, Kelly, is amazing. And I can talk, so y'all would have to stop me here because I could go on and on. That's the one thing about coming into this, having been a politician. I learned to come out of that little shell. In the past, when I was younger, I wasn't as talkative. I was always in the corner looking at everybody. But now I've learned to express myself. I've come out of that shell, and I'm extremely grateful to both of you for embracing me and helping me along this journey and ensuring that the people's property is one that we can continue to protect and preserve and make accessible to everyone.
And I think that's a beautiful statement because, the one real thing we had is our property. And so you taking care of that and understanding that, that the land is what most of it's about. And that's an amazing thing. And I appreciate that. And coming from a human resources background, I can see where I can imagine all the kinds of forms and papers and requirements to keep and all that come up, So this seemed like it was sort of a natural fit that you went into this and yeah, this has to be preserved and kept and all these things. So yeah, I can see why that was a natural flow into this.
And I would have to say the experience of being on the Board of Zoning Appeals, being on the Parks Board, um, being on the Metro Council, and dealing with property transactions and people looking at the history of what has happened with a particular parcel or particular structure. All of that, I think, also played into the experience, I think, that was needed to appreciate and understand the importance of the role of this office.
Well, with
We
the,
know parks, we have the, um, um, what is the park, oh my gosh, I'm going blank here. That was one of the first things. In fact, a lot of people fought to keep it. Fort Negley. Mhm. Fort Negley, that was one of the first things that I was involved in as a Parks Board member. So when you go into the new building um, that's there, you see Karen Johnson along with the other park boards members, which I go back there and I'm like, wow, never knowing that my experience starting out there would have helped lead me to here. And so when I go back and attend events at Fort Negley, it's almost overwhelming because that's kind of the journey that I started serving with Metro.
it's pretty amazing. I mean, with parks and what you've done with Fort Negley and some of, I think you did some civil rights artwork for the courthouse. I mean, you've been very active in all the kinds of things in the city, and I can see, your background in with the council and all that. You're very, very, it's very, uh, I guess, people approach. It's very good about the office and what you do, and we're just excited to have you today. It's amazing. You have anything, Kelly?
No, I'm just kind of wondering, what's a day in the life like in your position? What
Oh my gosh. Well, the day in the life of this position, I think, is looking up information, digging through old data, old records, sharing that information with people who are dealing with various issues relative to proving their ownership. We have people who come in here, they're in tears because they're in some type of court situation, family situation where somebody has died, the property is trying to be taken from up under them. So it's incredibly important to have a team of people here in this office that work collaboratively together to include you, because we could not access a lot of that information if we didn't have that true partnership with both of you and your division of Metro to ensure that we're conveying the correct information, which helps people to um, be able to prove that they or their family actually own the real estate that they do. And a lot of people don't even also realize the amount of volume that comes through every day. I was quite surprised of that when I started, the number of transactions that come from bulk drop-offs of uh, documents that we have to key into the system, and you have to be very meticulous. You have to follow the state statutes in ensuring that you're only putting in information that is required and that's accurate, and that you're redacting things that should not be accessible. So you have to be very meticulous in everything you do here on a daily basis with a large volume of documents coming in. So you can imagine we're busy from the time we open the door to the time we leave. And sometimes, we're behind a lot. And always, there's no downtime. There's so many real estate transactions that people just don't even, they're not aware. All they see is, oh, okay, I buy a house, I fill out all this paperwork, it goes somewhere. Well, just think about if this office did not function effectively every day by keying in certain information, processing certain information, everything stops in terms of real estate and the economy for Nashville. This office is kind of like that driving, that engine that drives all of the economic development activity within the city. And so if you didn't have people who are professional and experienced in these roles, it could create a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, and could ultimately have a lot of issues going through the courts. And we don't want to see that. We want to keep our city moving in the vibrancy that we see. And what my team here and I have learned is that we're a vital part of maintaining that vibrancy and attractability of Nashville.
Yes, I can understand how busy y'all get with all the development here in the last few years. It's just gone out the roof, and I saw the sign out there for bulk deposits, and I just had an image of somebody bringing by 50 deeds and dropping them in a box.
It's more than that.
That would be a good day, wouldn't it?
We have FedEx drop-offs, UPS drop-offs, mail, the Postal Service, just a regular U.S. Postal Service, e-recordings. So we get it from all different directions. And you have to be extremely organized because it affects what you all are doing. As we continue to preserve and put records in archives, you want those records to be right. So that when people reference them or are in need of that information, that it's helpful and it's accurate. And so, we're, like I said, we're busy. And now we have a lot of refinancing that is taking place as well, because the economy, the way that it is, the interest rates also drive a lot of activity. So you see they're at an all historic low. And so that compounds on top of already the activity that's there. And so that makes us also continually busy.
I hadn't thought about that. So, there's the deed, but then there's refinancing, there's changing names on deeds, there's all kinds of other documents.
Plus, all the different documents that are attached to property. And it can easily be taken away. People, when title companies do the title search and something pops up that's not supposed to be there, it can cause a tremendous amount of hardship on the property owner. And so what we do is really, really important because you don't want something attached that ends up having you in court to try to remove or to take away because it wasn't supposed to be there or so forth, so on. Now, we don't do that,
Mhm.
but yeah, it literally takes experienced people understanding. And a lot of the people who've been here on average have been here 15 to 39 years. So
Incredible.
folks come in here to work. They love it. They love what we do. And so the turnover is very, very low.
That's really,
Keeps experience.
well, you've got an exhibit coming up, I think, with African American history, and we brought over several deed books, and we're kind of looking forward to that. Could you tell us a little bit about that, maybe?
We've actually posted one, so you got to go out there to our social media. One of the things that I think is different now with this office is not in the background. Um, Someone being as visible as I have been over the years in these many different capacities, I feel like the work that is here in this office should be shared. And we've had judges and others visit our um, social media sites, and they're like, thank you for sharing such insightful information. So when we're digging and trying to bring out um, facts and old data, and I think you know David Ewan, our what is
You
he's
do.
called the county historian also. He just recently, with the first post that we just made about the house on this campus, um, he said, "Oh, I had my date wrong." Which we put out there like 19, I think it was what 1904 or something like that. And so because we dug deep and put out that information on social media, it actually brought to the attention of people who look at that um, that wow, that's information that I did not know, and it's new. And so I think that again is a testament to the work that both of you all do. Is very, very, very important um, because it brings out information that can make a difference in something that someone may be considering relative to that property.
I don't think I would ever let David Ewing forget it, that you had a date he didn't have. I think I'd bring it up every time I saw him, Karen.
You have to go out to our Facebook page and see his comment. But we post all of this info. We want to show the books off and show what's in our archives and in our system. We want people to know this information. And so we have made a very conscious effort to share that on our social media. And so far, it has been well received. In fact, we had who came in here yesterday? Someone came in here yesterday from the mayor's office uh, and wanted to do a tour uh, with all of the books. So, I mean, that's good when you have people excited and Ken, we have some things in the works where people, when they walk into our offices, they're going to see some things that are really going to even pique their interest even more. And we probably be scheduling even more for people to come in and take that visit, do the visit with you all.
So, because history and the history of Arcana can be a lot of fun. It really can be. And putting the book,
Really can.
that's putting a real face on things. And yeah, these are people's records.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm really.
If you think about it, when you go to a lot of museums that show, you know, interesting historical facts, people are intrigued with that and want to know that information. So, what you all do is so, so very, very important. Um, with people in this office, we're all a team, and I think we have to understand that a lot of people really have a strong interest in seeing the information that we all work very hard to ensure is accurate and is also preserved.
Great. We'll get, after this is over, we'll get with you about a link so we can put a link on our Facebook page to let people know,
Okay.
we get the word out.
But we're on Facebook and Twitter. I have not done the Instagram thing yet because yes, a lot of our younger generations on Instagram, but we have to figure out a way where there is an interest for them to want to go to that page. I mean, I think Facebook and Twitter is a little bit different in terms of the social media, where it's more informational and people can kind of just see it without having to, I guess, join and be somebody that's a follower, so to speak. So Instagram is a little bit, I think, more unique in providing information that is exciting to people. I think Instagram works well when you do a lot of video, a lot of personal speaking about different things of that sort, and because people like that type of interaction. So we have narrowed our social media. Sometimes you can do too much and it not be effective. So we narrowed it to what we think um, will get information out, and that's new for this office. And so we look forward to linking with both of you all um, with your site so that we can continue to bring awareness to the information that's in our hands.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just really love how our departments dovetail so nicely together. I mean, we're both passionate about records and making sure we can access them. It's,
We love what we
You
do.
both are amazing. And I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. And I hope that the work that I'm doing, I haven't been in the role that long, but I hope that what I bring to the table adds um, to the important role that the county register and archives has in the footprint of the historical footprint of our city. And one thing I want to also add is, that I did um, implement something new so that when different instruments like liens and things that people aren't aware that are attached to their properties that result in them being acquired by other individuals or entities, there's a new property alert that now people can sign up for. And a lot of senior citizens have been excited about it because it alerts them if someone puts something on their property, and say, for instance, 10 years from now, you're just finding out about it. And it's what happens is there's interest that ends up being attached, or 10 years down the line, you end up owing more money on top of what the person said you initially owed. If that is the case, um, once something is recorded now, um, it can be immediately looked at by the property owner to make sure that it's legitimately supposed to be tied to their property. So I think that's a good thing that we have put in place.
Well, that's a great resource, of course, with everything going on here now. And yeah, I mean, getting a notification like that makes a lot of difference sometimes. And people don't, they because they don't realize. Some of our seniors don't, so yeah, that's a great new resource. It really is.
I love using your portal website. I use it all the time.
A lot of people do, and they say it is, even the media, they say they don't want that to go down at all because it's so helpful and as a good resource. So we have the challenge here of making sure that stays in real time and that is accurate. So
That's good. Well, anything else? Well, Karen, we sure appreciate your time today. It's been
Yes,
great
thank
talking
you.
with you, and thank you
I
very much.
hope that I added something, that is of value and
We want to talk the register. I mean, some of the largest volume of things we have is from you. So I thought, well, let's have a chat with the Register of Deeds. And,
Yeah.
talk with her today.
and we are the highest volume office in the state. So it's like I said, there's a lot of activity in this office.
And that is good to know.
Yeah.
And y'all are on top of it. So that's
You
perfect.
are, yeah.
That's perfect.
Thanks to you.
Well,
Help
about
any way
that,
we
but thank you.
can.
Well, we do appreciate your time, and
Mm-hmm.
thank you for sitting with us today. It's been great, and we'll get with you about this reporting and go from there.
But anytime you want me to come on, I am ready. I love this, and any new information that I can share or bring insight to, I'm ready to do it. So,
Thank you so
thank
much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
okay, you too.